Hello and welcome everyone to the sixth appointment of the IFAD Innovation Talks. Today's session focuses on the role of the public sector in the assimilation of innovative agri-technologies, and we will be taking a close look at the Israeli model. Today's event is being run thanks to our partnership with the Israeli Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the Israel Innovation Authority. Before we start, I would like to remind you to please use the Q&A box to post your questions. This is a reminder that today's event is being recorded. By joining the event, you are agreeing to the recording taking place. We have a full agenda today and a stellar list of speakers. Due to our time constraint, I won't be able to do any justice to them. So this is an invitation to visit our event page to check the speaker profiles and the event's concept note and agenda. John has shared with you the link in the chat box. Without much further ado, I am honored to welcome Minister Oded of the Israeli Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Minister Fodor, the floor is yours.
Mr. Ziller, Vice President of IFAD, representatives from IFAD, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Innovation is at the core of the State of Israel's ongoing development and success. We harness the power of Israel's innovation and technology through the introduction of products, technologies, processes, skills, and the establishment of institutions, both public and private. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development works to develop the agriculture sector in Israel to ensure the supply of fresh and nutritious food to our citizens while promoting an efficient, economically, and environmentally sustainable agriculture. Our aim is to share with you a different agriculture that is not based on natural comparative advantage, but relies on technological progresses, innovation, and entrepreneurial culture. As part of Israel's public sector, we see great importance in our involvement in the innovation processes. We support innovative technologies and work to integrate them into the current agricultural work. In collaboration with the Israel Innovation Authority, we provide platforms and programs for the promotion and support of companies and entrepreneurs interested in initiating and conducting applied research to develop a product or technology for the local market and export. I believe that sharing knowledge and building capabilities are essential for successful long-term results and will support and uphold our common goal of achieving food security for the entire population. I would like to thank IFAD for enabling this valuable activity and to the Israeli Innovation Authority for their participation and ongoing cooperation with our ministry. I wish you all a fruitful and effective webinar.
Thank you, Minister Fodor, for your opening remarks, partnership, and also for your support to today's knowledge sharing event. Now, I would like to welcome Yakov Poleg, Senior Deputy Director General and Head of the Center for Foreign Trade and International Cooperation at the Israeli Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. Yakov, over to you.
Thank you. Vice President of IFAD, Dominik, Ziller, representative from IFAD, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, good afternoon. It is my great pleasure to speak at this valuable event. I've been part of Israel public sector at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development for many years, involved in international cooperation and working closely with other ministries and institutions within Israel and in the international arena. It is my experience and belief that an integrative approach is one of the most effective and responsible ways for the public sector to promote innovation and create environments for the sustainable assimilation of new practices and technologies. Over the years, Israel's model of closed and integrative system connecting and providing free flow of information between the four pillars of our agriculture sector, which are research institutions, the extension services, the private agro-technology industry, and the end user, our growers. This model has proven to be the basis and engine for both the adaptation of process of assimilating new and innovative agro-technologies into the daily practices of our growers. by ensuring and supporting an open channel for the flow of know-how and information between these four pillars, we create a platform allowing the researchers and the industry to address and work on finding solutions to the challenges and needs of the agricultural sector. And with the assistance of our extension services, these solutions are presented back to the growers who on their part serve as a beta site for the whole agricultural sector to learn and adopt at a later stage. I think that in order for any modality to succeed, several basic elements have to exist. Policy with clear vision, coupled with pragmatic yet realistic working plan, aiming at reaching all interested parties, leaving no farmer behind, open and transparent allocation of research funds, strong result-driven public domain research institutions, meaning all research results and conclusions are open to the public free of charge. And of course, equal accessibility and opportunities to all. What we also need is regional R&D centers to better assimilate the knowledge and provide applied solution to area-specific problems and challenges. The need for constant development of innovative new technology should be the interest of the government itself. We simply have no other option but to produce more while facing much less favorable production conditions existing only a decade ago. The motivation of the public sector to provide the necessary means and support for this to happen should arise from a very simple fact. We need to produce more food for our growing population, and innovation is a key. There are different modalities to assimilate new technologies and reach out our farm communities. Today, we have the pleasure to share with you examples of Israeli Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development process and programs supporting the agricultural sector to foster and initiate innovative technologies, and how we do this in close integrative cooperation with relevant ministries, institutions, and with the private sector. I know I said it already. However, as part of the public sector is our responsibility to ensure equal accessibility to our services, know-how, and programs. We do this by utilizing the ministry's accumulated knowledge using innovative platform and transforming them into simple and free products, such as the Agro-Meteo app, which Marc will introduce today. In addition, Dr. Levy will elaborate on how, together with partners from relevant ministries and institutions, we assist with the important trial stage of a new technology or practice by providing the connection between the startup companies and the growers. Israel Innovation Authority is our natural partner for the initiation and assimilation of innovation, and together we formulate programs and create ecosystems for the adoption of innovative technologies. I hope that by sharing our experience, we can contribute to the development of a resilient, innovative agricultural sector so that our future generation will not be the ones working toward achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, but the ones responsible for maintaining them. I would like to thank the organizers for giving us the stage today, and for our colleagues and partners for sharing their experiences. I would like to use this opportunity to invite governments and institutions to discuss with us best ways to share our modality if they find it interesting and instrumental to their agricultural sector. Wishing you all fruitful events and good health. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yakov. Indeed, ensuring the existence and access by farmers, in particular women and youth, to inclusive infrastructures, capacity building, policies, and incentives is key to support the assimilation process of innovative agri-technologies. You actually also made very good points about affordability and sustainability, and I'm really looking forward to Michal's intervention right now in the keynotes section. So moving on to the next section of our event, I would like to welcome our keynote speakers. First, please join me to welcome Michal Levy, Acting Chief Scientist and Senior Deputy Director General of Agriculture Innovation at the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development of Israel. Michal, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the organizers of this event. In the few minutes I have, I would like to share with you the way the Ministry of Agriculture in Israel try to bring innovation from the idea until implementing it in the field. So first, I would like to start with the programs that we have in the Chief Scientist Ministry, in the Chief Scientist Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture. We start with supporting basic research. Researchers from different academic institutes in Israel apply to get funding in specific topics that here at the ministry we believe that are in the need for the future of agriculture, or from other point of view is relevant to support and help the farmers in their work. So we start with basic research with ideas, not necessarily have some wish to have implementation in the field, but usually these researchers are usually bring ideas to new models and new ways to implement ideas in the field. We continue with supporting with applicative research. And when we say applicative research, we refer to a whole spectrum of different stage of development of this research. It can be early stage or more practical and giving more tools to growers. So both these programs are supported by the chief scientists and dealing with topics that are in the focus of the ministry, the ministry's goals. And then we have located in different areas in Israel, our regional R&D centers. These centers are working in a few stages while supporting our researchers to implement and do more field trials and test these developments actually in the field. I think that what is interesting with their work is that they usually they are located in different areas of Israel, and by that they allow to our researchers to test their developments, their research in different climates, in different locations in Israel. And now I'm reaching to the collaboration that we have, the Ministry of Agriculture, we have with the Israeli Innovation Authority. And this stage, we try to support entrepreneurship, we try to support startup companies with funding them with the seed funds, and in order to nurture them in their early stages. So the first program we have is actually seed funding for these startups, supporting them in their early steps in the entrepreneurial world. And I believe that this is a place for government to be, because these ideas are in the highest risk. So today, I believe that VCs, it's really hard for them to give funding at these stages. And therefore, this is our role as a government to support these ideas. So we do that together with the IIA. And I believe that when we combine forces, first, we combine budget. We bring some, the IIA brings some, and we can support more companies. And the other thing is that as professionals and people that are connected to the actual work that is done in the field, we bring a new way how to think and to measure these startups and to decide which ones will be funded. The next stage that we do together with the IAA is pilots. We believe that these companies, when they want to succeed, they wish, the Israeli companies wish to move to their markets, and these markets are abroad. It's not in the Israeli agriculture. And when we created this program, we had two aims in our mind. The first one was to bring these startups to do their work and to test their products in the Israeli agriculture. And the next aim was to support them when they will go abroad to export their knowledge and their products. We wish them to be more mature, to be ready, and to have the exact product ready for the market. When we do that, we fund the startup with all the necessity that the company needs to do the pilot, but we also support the grower, the one that the actual work will be done in his field. So by that, we wish to send a message to our growers that we want them to collaborate with startups. We want them to bring innovation to their fields, and we are the ones that support them with doing that. And the last part in this program is basically to bring the idea as we started to build it and to implement it in the field when it's actually commercial. So for that, we have a program to support growers up to 50% of the cost of the product and to implement it in the field. We try to basically to send them a message that while implementing new ideas and innovative tools in their fields, it will be for their benefits at the end. And actually also our regional R&D centers and our extension services, both of them work together to support our growers while doing this implementation in their field. So by that,
thank you so much. Thank you, Michal. Thank you. I appreciate it. So with that, I would like now to give the floor to our second keynote speaker of the day. I am pleased to welcome Shiran Mostovoy, Community Manager at the Israeli Innovation Institute at GrowingIL. Shiran, over to you.
Hi, thank you so much, Gladys, and thank you, IFAD, for organizing this event today. So I'm going to introduce shortly GrowingIL and what we do. GrowingIL is Israel's ag-tech community. It's the largest community of ag-tech startups and other players in the ecosystem. In Israel, it's been active since 2018. So this is the 4th year of GrowingIL. We have 3 main goals. One is to support the growth of the Israeli ag-tech sector and enhance the implementation of innovation in the field, while simultaneously positioning Israel as a global innovation center for ag-tech. And let's not forget, the 3rd goal is basically to make sure these innovative technologies are implemented within the Israeli market so that the Israeli public can also enjoy these innovative technologies. So we consider ourselves, and so does our community, as an agnostic player. We work with everybody, service providers, investors, agribusinesses, academia, government, farmers, and with over 500 ag tech companies. That includes agribusinesses and startups that are active in Israel in this sector. So we have two main strategic channels. The first one is called ecosystem development, and it has 4 components: events, tools, virtual community, and connections. We curate events that tend to our community's needs and challenges: demo days, seminars, conventions, summits, etc. Tools is something that we create from time to time. I'll give a few examples. One of them is called the AgTech Marketplace, Pilot Marketplace. It connects with farmers and startups for pilot purposes. It's free of charge. Almost all of our activities are free of charge. The second tool is called our Investors Map, the Agri-Food Tech Investors Map. It has 90 funds from Israel and around the world that are either general but interested in AgTech or are agri-food focused. It's a great tool for our community members. And this is in Hebrew, but I chose to show it anyway because it connects to what Michal says. And we prepared a special mini site for this program that the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development offers, which is up to 50% funding in implementing a new technology in the field. So we are kind of the channel of the startups. We are in close ties with the startups. And according to what the Ministry of Agriculture decided the rules are, or what startup can or cannot participate in this specific program, we made a list of startups that can connect to the farmers, have a ready-made product to implement in the field. That was a very successful collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture. And the third channel is our online community. We have about 1,000 followers on LinkedIn, almost 4,500 monthly newsletter recipients, and we have 3,000 people on our Facebook group. This is just a little bit of numbers about us. We have a lot of people have attended our events so far, about 6,600 people. 1,200 connections have been made, 900 job offers, and 60 POCs. The second channel of our activity is called innovation implementation. What we do is we connect the demand side and the supply side. So the demand would be the industry, agribusinesses, such as Adama or Bayer Crop Science, which we have had hackathons and challenge competition with. And the supply side would be the startups and entrepreneurs.
Shiran, you have 15 seconds left.
Okay. It would be for creating basically to get an end result of a POC or a pilot. So just a quick example, with Bayer, we did a hackathon. And with Adama, we had a challenge competition. And there was a winner that's going to do a shared POC. Just to conclude, GrowingIL is a gateway to the Israeli AgTech ecosystem. We connect global entities with relevant technologies and create events. We tailor-made open innovation processes. We invite everybody to get in touch with us. And I just don't want to forget to mention that we are a governmental initiative. 50% of our funding does arrive from the Ministry of Agriculture, the Israel Innovation Authority, and the Ministry of Economy. And we are more than happy to answer questions and connect with relevant players in the ecosystem. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shiran. Now, I would like to welcome our panel moderator, Hagit Schwimmer, Senior Director of Health, Food, Agriculture, Energy, Environment, Climate, Mobility, and Research Infrastructures at the Israel Innovation Authority. And our panelists as well, Rossana Polastri, Director of IFAD's Latin America and Caribbean Division, Marc Perel, Head of Agri-Meteo at the Israel Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Noah Isralowitz, Operations Manager at the InNegev Technology Incubator, and Simcha, founder and CEO of Agro-Scout. Hagit, over to you.
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the organizers. I'm really delighted to be here today. Before we go to the panel, I would like to take this opportunity and say a few words about tools and opportunities to promote the collaboration between the public sector and the private sector, developers, farmers, and others. So I'm representing the Innovation Authority, the Israeli Innovation Authority, but my focus today is on the European Framework Program for Research and Innovation, Horizon Europe. So Israel is an associated country to this program, or will be associated country to Horizon Europe, and as such, Israeli entities take part in European projects. One major important focus of the recently published program, Horizon Europe, is the Green Deal, which includes the farm to fork strategy to create fair, healthy, and environmentally friendly food system, together with a goal to promote an assimilation of the innovative technologies in all the fields. The program is an example for the platform for collaborations that push forward development and assimilation of agri-technologies. It gives not only the funding, but also the openness for international collaborations, sharing knowledge between developers and public authorities. It enables the collaboration of experts from different disciplines and also different sectors to confront a common challenge. So I would like to invite everybody here to explore the opportunities that the program has to offer in this aspect, to get funding and promote your technology, to share knowledge and best practices, to implement the most innovative technologies, and also to support others in any sector and any aspect of the field. So with that, I will continue with a question with a panelist here, and with the first question to Rossana Polastri. Rossana, could you please share with us, in your experience as IFAD's regional director in Latin America and the Caribbean, how development financial institutions can contribute to foster innovation and the adoption of agri-technologies by farmers? And if you could please share some examples.
Thank you very much, dear Minister Perel and representatives of Israel's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and Israel Innovation and Technology organizations, dear Vice President Ziller and colleagues from IFAD, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and greetings from a very warm Rome. Let me start by saying that I am very impressed with the previous interventions, a public sector committed to attend with efficiency the needs of the agricultural sector by well-articulated policies and targeting the right investments. It's kind of a dream from the LAC region. As we know, technological innovations have been a major driving force for increasing agricultural productivity and promoting development in both developed and developing countries. Possibly no other country in the world knows that better than Israel. Israel is also an example of a core belief that drives our work in IFAD. Investing in agriculture is an effective way of promoting the development not just of rural areas, but also of the society at large. If today Israel is a wealthy nation, it's greatly because its founding fathers had a clear vision that food production and food security are the critical foundations on which to build a stable country. In the past, the choice of agricultural technologies and their adoption was based mainly on the need to increase farmers' production and productivity, and therefore increase income. Now the world has become much more complex, and the choice of technology is also influenced by many other factors, such as trade, social development, environment, education, food safety, and also quality and animal welfare. Nowadays, the agricultural sector faces new challenges. On one hand, to meet the growing demands for food, and at the same time, on the other hand, to be environmentally and socially sustainable, allowing smallholders to overcome poverty. This growing complexity adds to the evidence that our current food systems, the way in which produce, distribute, and consume food, are not working in the direction of achieving the world without hunger and poverty, we have committed ourselves as a global society to deliver in the agenda of the 2030. These facts prompted the UN Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez to convene the Food Systems Summit in autumn of this year. In the run-up of it, the question we are looking into this event, how the public sector can promote the assimilation of new agricultural technologies, acquires particular relevance. Going to your question, at IFAD, we have a holistic view of agriculture-related issues. For us, agriculture is embedded and it's the wider issue of rural development in which technology and innovation play a key role. A role poised to be even more important in these pandemic times in which movement and social interaction are so limited. So when we talk about technologies, we don't talk only about productivity and about increasing production technologies, but we also talk about technologies to prevent and mitigate the impact of climate change, avert food waste, and guarantee financial inclusion and access to basic social services of rural communities. No doubt, the impact of new agricultural technologies depends on how actors in both the private and public sectors manage to adapt institutionally for taking advantage of possibly positive effects of new technologies. Institutions such as IFAD can play a key role in designing and implementing programs and financing mechanisms in partnership with governments and other global organizations to foster innovation in poverty reduction intervention in rural areas. In the last 2 years, IFAD has approved 2 major policies to support these efforts. The first one has been the new private sector strategy that aims to mobilize private funding and investments into rural, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, expanding access to markets and increasing income and job opportunity for IFAD target groups. On the other hand, the Information and Communication Technology for Development, ICT for Development, strategy that aims to maximize capacity to use technology to increase the impact of rural development initiatives and improve the economic and social conditions of the rural people. Let me highlight our commitment to expand the use of technology with some examples from IFAD's portfolio in the Latin
Rossana,
American.
Rossana, I'm sorry, we have run out of time. Sorry, Hagit, for interrupting you, but our Vice President needs to leave on time. Thank you, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rossana, thank you. My next question goes to Marc Perel, head of the Agri-Meteo in Israel. Marc, Agri-Meteo offers key meteorological information to farmers in real time. Could you share with us what are the main challenges that the initiative has faced and how you've overcome these challenges to achieve your goal? Please, Marc.
Hello to everybody and good afternoon from Israel. The main objective that we have is the distribution of meteorological data and forecasts for our clients, who are the farmers, the instructors, external workers, field researchers. I mean, you can have all the data in the world and you can have the best forecasts in the world, but if they're not reaching our end clients, then we have a problem. So what we want to do is actually create a website and a cell phone app with free and accessible data for everybody. I think our 4 main challenges were, number 1, understanding the exact needs, specific needs of the farmers, having the vision of what they want and what they need. And we know that the farmers have specific needs. We want to try and improve the day-to-day decision making, which is sowing, fertilizing, irrigation, harvesting, and of course, extreme weather alerts. That is number 1. Number 2, I'd say, which is common for everybody, is raising funds, basically internally trying to persuade our superiors how important our task is. Number 3 would be selecting the right company that we want to work with. Of course, the company that provides the best product with a reasonable price, but I think more importantly is sharing a common vision of the product that we want to produce and want to share with our farmers. And finally, I think the promotion of our product. I mean, okay, now we have the website and we have the app, but the farmers have to know about this product that we have. So of course we use other internet sites and the media, but I think what we have to do is actually go down and meet the farmers. We've got to leave our nice air-conditioned offices and go down and see the farm, see the farmers, see the day-to-day needs, and like that we can also promote the products that we give. If I have some time, I'd like to show you a little bit about our internet site, the Agri-Meteor. I hope everybody can see. This is the map of Israel, and you can see the nice cool temperatures that we have at the moment. Pretty warm over here. But what we do is have online information. Every 10 minutes, this information, the data is updated, and anybody can zoom in on any station, and we can just press on the station, and we will see a graph of what happened today with the temperatures, and even we can see yesterday, and we can pick any day of the year. We have an archive of about 15 years of data every 10 minutes from about 100 stations representing all the geoclimatic zones of the country. You can see the relative humidity and precipitation, which at the moment is 0, and all the different parameters that are relevant for the farmers. Again, we have to help them in the decision-making process. We also have on this site is a 5-day forecast. I'm sorry that everything's in Hebrew, but it's just for internal uses. But I mean, the farmers in Israel speak Hebrew, so that's why everything is in Hebrew. But we have a forecast with the temperatures and the precipitation amounts. That's one thing that we have. And of course, we have also what we call stations that we can see an automatic forecast. We call them virtual stations. It's not real stations, but they are actually just a model. And we can see not only what the temperatures are supposed to be at the moment. We can actually do a quick zoom in, and we can see not only the forecasted temperature for today. You can see the 14th of September, where we can go 4 days forward, and every farmer in every area can see the projected temperature, relative humidity, precipitation, and evapotranspiration for exact irrigation in its area. The data is free of charge, and no need for any kind of sign-in or code or anything. And that's the policy we have over here in Israel. It's a policy of the Ministry of Agriculture, and we're very proud of it. Finally, just for the end, we want to improve all the time, add more stations, add more forecasts. If it's for extreme weather events, if it's frost, if it's hail, we want to add also for the fishermen, the waves, the height of the waves, the sea temperature, and etc. It's an ongoing process to all the time improve working with the private sector, improving the service that we give for the farmers.
Thank you, Marc.
I'm going to just sign out.
Right. Thank you. I'll just continue with my question to Noah Isralowitz from InNegev Technology Incubator. Noah, as the leading technology incubator in Israel, what would you say makes the Israeli model of cooperation unique to offer value to startups and deliver results from the ecosystem?
Thank you, Hagit. Thank you, the organizers, and good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to present InNegev as part of the, hold on one second, let me share my screen. As part of the Israeli model and the role of the public sector for assimilating innovative agriculture technologies in the Negev region. InNegev is a technology incubator in the fields of agri-food tech, clean tech, and advanced manufacturing. We started operating in May last year under the Peripheral Incubators Program of the Israeli Innovation Authority. InNegev is a joint initiative led by Bnei Shimon Regional Council, who brought together major industrial companies from the Negev, such as Netafim, Dolav, SodaStream, Kibbutz Hatzarim, and Alpha Capital, to join hands in this establishment. As an incubator, InNegev provides full services for the success of its companies and entrepreneurs from the Negev area, not only funding, but also services such as accounting, business development, fast track to proof of concept, and more. At the end of the day, our goal and mission is to promote innovation and entrepreneurship in the Negev area according to the region's needs. By leveraging public government funding with private matching funding, we foster the creation of early stage companies and ventures in our fields of operation, promoting them for future investments. For assimilating innovation in the Negev region, InNegev links the public, private, and entrepreneurial sectors, and I believe that's what makes the Israeli model very unique. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Noah. The question now goes to Simcha Shor from Agro-Scout. Simcha has achieved great results both in Israel and also in other countries. Could you share with us what makes your operating and partnerships model so unique, and how you've been able to scale it out to countries such as Mexico?
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a great honor and privilege talking to you from the northern part of Israel, not far from the Sea of Galilee and Nazareth, where we've been doing agriculture for the last thousands of years. Yet it's been changing and has greater challenges than ever before. I'll start with a short story. I spent the last 25 years in defense, a parallel world to the decision to talk today. And I did a lot of work in technology and data collection, remote sensing, computer vision, artificial intelligence. And when I finished the service a few years ago, I wanted to take all this know-how and go to and bring this all to agriculture. And I started to talk to some venture capital, and they were very happy to talk to someone that just finished his service in the intelligence corps. And they asked me just one question, if everything I talked about had to do with cyber. So back a few years ago, it was a bit hard to raise money for agriculture. And all the people that spoke for me are part of the story that I'll show now, how we've gone from an idea to global sales. And I think in that moment, I had the opportunity to reach out to the Innovation Authority and get into the incubator program that was mentioned before. And that helped us the first 2 years to take an idea to some sort of product that we can then go and work with farmers again through the Innovation Authority and the Ministry of Agriculture to work with real farmers down in the south and also here up in the north, that enabling us to be able to bring this to a product that we now have used with farmers around the world. The main challenge I chose to deal with when I got out of the service is at a time that we speak of more and more people that we need to feed and more things that we need to grow, I saw this problem that the UN mentions of loss of crops to disease and pests. These are global numbers. So it means that they're growing less tons per hectare than the grower in Israel and other places in the world. The majority of the 500 million farmers are very small. They don't have access to agronomists, to plant doctors, to a lot of the things that we just saw before. So it's about accessibility, like we see in the medicine and doctor for people world. So Agroscout is about bringing that knowledge of agronomy, plant doctor, and consulting farmers, the smallest farmers everywhere in the world, all the way from seeding and planting, all the way to harvest. We started with this problem. In Israel, it's only 5 to 10% because we have scouts walking the field for the last 80 years. But in the majority of the billion hectares of the world, they just don't have scouts that are professional to walk the fields. So it's about bringing this to those farmers in a way that they can use this. And it's about sustainability and accountability, helping them grow more with less. And the way we're able to do this is by empowering them to use off-the-shelf smartphones, small drones. They upload the data to the cloud, and we then make sense of that using computer vision and artificial intelligence. We've taught the algorithms to think like an agronomist. And it's all about the data. We've collected data for the last 4 years over multiple countries, multiple crops, multiple areas of the world. So it's not about Joe's farm in Washington anymore. It's about the whole region. It's an iron dome of disease and pests for that region. It's about bringing them things that are relevant to them. This is the problem in the field. This is what you need to do. It's all about the mobile app. The only common thing about the 500 million farmers of the world, and that's not even true to all of them, is the mobile app. What we don't bring to them there is almost not relevant. So we have the desktop, and this can be for the bigger farmers and for organizations, but then it's about bringing it all the way down to the mobile app and for them to be able to use.
I'm sorry, but the time's up. Do you want to say the final sentence?
Yes, just one last final sentence. Again, the Innovation Authority, the Ministry of Agriculture have brought us not only to the farmers here, but also to farmers and industries in other places in the world. And now working in Latin America and North America. I'm most proud of this project in Latin America. We're working with very small farmers, helping them from seeding all the way to harvest.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We now came to the question and answer session. So I think I need Gladys' help.
Thank you so much, Hagit.
Take questions from them.
Yeah, I will read the questions, and maybe Hagit, you can address the questions to the member of the panel that you think wants to answer the question. So very quickly, I see that there is already an answered question, and Yakov already replied to that. So let's move on to Thailand, Kimas. And Thailand is asking, what are the most popular research topics and the top supported innovations in 2020 in Israel?
This is the perfect question to Michal, but she's not in this panel.
We can if Michal and Shiran also can join the panel, that would be great, so that people can get their questions answered. Same for Yakov, since he's contributing as well.
I'm here. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. The question is, what are the most popular research topics and the top supported innovations in 2020 in Israel?
I believe that technology is in the frontier of all the developments here. Also, researchers here are very concerned for food security and referring more to a source of protein and climate change. I think that these are the most interesting and topics.
Thank you, Michal. I would like to move on to the next question. And this question is by Elisa Alvarez Mera, joining us from Colombia. And she's asking, how can we build joint ventures or share programs from Israel with the small poor farmers in rural areas in developing countries? May I suggest that a representative of the government of Israel addresses this question, and perhaps if we could have also the inputs by IFAD's Regional Director for Latin America and the Caribbean, Rossana, please. Thank you.
Yes, I think this is a very good idea. I'm afraid the question you said.
I can also add comments if I'm allowed.
Yes, please.
Yes. So Israel is a very broad program to assimilate knowledge that was gained here in Israel with regard to agricultural development. So we have, they can contact the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, ask to speak or write to one of Mashav. Mashav is the Israeli Agency for Development Cooperation. They can contact them directly, or they can contact us at the Ministry of Agriculture. We also can provide some assistance, particularly to companies that are working in developing countries. So both options are open and very good. I'm sure that they will get an immediate answer from Mashav, Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Of course, they have limited budget for international corporations, but they will be very happy to assist. The first thing I suggest that contact the Israeli embassy at your the nearest capital city and ask them to provide additional suggestions.
Thank you. Gladys, any other question?
Yes, we do have actually we have loads of questions, but if Alberto can confirm, I think that I'm sorry, Simcha?
Nothing.
Okay, I believe we can take one more. I don't know if Rossana wanted to add anything to the comments by Yakov.
Thank you. Just very briefly, I think that also they can contact IFAD. When we do designs of projects, we do ample consultations. So we either can find ways to support some joint ventures together, of course, in consultation with the Ministry of Israel. But we also have the private sector window, and that's another instrument that IFAD has, and we can also explore ways to collaborate. So just contact IFAD through our email. Thank you.
Thank you. Gladys, any time for one more question?
I think that no, actually we don't have more time for any more questions, but we do promise to all our audience and everybody that has asked questions, we always provide questions and answers report. So I ask again the collaboration from our panelists to answer in writing all the questions that remain. So now I would like to shift our attention to the closing remarks. I am honored to welcome IFAD's Vice President, Dominik Ziller, to deliver the closing remarks. Dominik, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gladys. It was really great to have this opportunity to listen to a 360-degree look at the agricultural innovation model of Israel. This model, I think it has been very successful, not only at developing high-performing and top-quality technologies, but also, and that's maybe even more important, at designing and implementing innovative programs for the successful adoption of these technologies by the farmers. From this, the farmers have been able to increase their incomes, they have been able to build resilience. So what we learned today makes this extremely relevant for us at IFAD, where we're trying to do the same thing in our recipient countries. And I think there's ample room for cooperation here to learn from the best practices developed in Israel. In 2019, IFAD approved a new ICT for development strategy to provide us with a framework for leveraging technology in order to increase development impact and to improve the economic and social conditions of poor rural people. So that is the nexus, and also for us a challenge to achieve this. The ICT for development in agriculture, well, it has the potential to help increase farmers' productivity and incomes. It has the potential also to strengthen resilience to climate change. And it has the potential finally to improve access to markets, in particular for the vulnerable groups, our IFAD's core customers. Further benefits can be garnered when these technologies are accompanied by a conducive legal framework and by user-centric sustainable approach, and they should also be respected in whatever we are doing in our partner countries. I would like to echo the words of Minister Fora during his opening remarks on the importance of sharing knowledge and building capabilities and partnerships between the public and the private sector. Those are essential components in our innovation initiatives to achieve long-term effects and sustainable results. Our colleagues from the Israel Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development highlighted the importance of building capacity to make technology accessible. They also underlined how important it is to design the right incentives for farmers to adopt innovative technologies. And at IFAD, we're very much aware of the fact that especially young rural entrepreneurs often do not have equal access to technologies. And even when they do, there are various barriers that impede their optimal use. So indeed, in 2017, for example, only 30% of young people use the internet in least developed countries compared to 94% in developed countries. And only 25% of users of digital agriculture solutions in sub-Saharan Africa are women. So there's ample room for improvement. IFAD is committed to overcome these challenges, to establish partnerships with governments and the private sector, and to design programs and tools that are human-centered, that are focused on delivering results tailored to the specific context, obviously. We are expecting to see significant growth in innovation and digitalization in agriculture over the next decade. Therefore, we aim to harness this growth to be able to deliver greater impact for our beneficiaries. Today's innovation talk has emphasized how this impact can be achieved more effectively and also with more agility through the establishment of public-private partnerships. Partnerships where the government fosters innovation for target groups, and partnerships in areas where the private sector would not traditionally invest. I appreciate the contributions by Michal in this respect and the emphasis on ensuring that we do not lose focus from the main objective, which is to deliver actual solutions that are tailored for our end users and designed and implemented in partnership with these end users. That's also very important to IFAD. Marc highlighted a point that I believe is key in delivering results, which is ensuring that in the design phase of interventions, efforts are dedicated to scanning the environment and discovering the habits of end users to ensure that the right channels and the right tools are accompanying the dissemination of technologies. As it was said, the objective is not the development of innovative technologies for the sake of developing innovative technologies, but rather to find real solutions to real problems and ensuring that those solutions are being delivered in an affordable, sustainable, and timely manner. Rossana mentioned in her intervention that IFAD is strongly involved in designing programs and financing mechanisms to foster innovation. We need to invest in evidence-based interventions for poverty reduction in rural areas. And therefore, we look forward to enhancing our partnership with the Israel Ministry of Agriculture and the Israel Innovation Authority to enable us to work with other member countries and the private sector, so to bring other actors on board to help us even better. In this respect, the interventions by Hagit from the Israel Innovation Authority and the representatives of the private sector were fundamental to describe how the public and private sector can jointly design programs and processes that create incentives for farmers to engage and become partners themselves in the adoption of innovative technologies. I was particularly interested in listening to the description of the program in Mexico, how it has achieved success by making the end user a key partner in the supply chain. A pity that, Rossana, you didn't have more time for that. A vital component in the Israel model is the ability of the public sector to create spaces through collaboration with tech incubators and startups to foster the origination and testing of ideas that can deliver tangible solutions. I would like to thank our partners and speakers in today's session, in particular Minister Oded and Yakov Poleg, head of the Center for Foreign Trade and International Cooperation, as well as all the other colleagues. Special thanks also, as always, to the members of the IFAD Innovation Network. Last but not least, to our audience for enriching the discussions with your questions. And well, Gladys, you as always have done more work than everybody else together. So many thanks also to you for organizing this and bringing us together. It is the last innovation talk before the summer break. So I wish you all a great summer, and I look forward to see you in October for the next innovation talk. Many thanks, and back to you, Gladys.
Thank you so much, Dominik, and thank you again for all your support to the IFAD Innovation Talks. I would also like to thank all of our speakers and partners, and to our team behind the scenes, Carmela Lopez, Edward Gallagher, John Laird, and Alberto Favero for their great work. And special thanks to Galit Aber and Daniel Werner at the Israel Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, and to our great partners at the Israel Innovation Authority. Before we close today's event, I would like to invite you to our next appointment of the IFAD Innovation Talks, which will take place after the summer break on 27th October, when we will be talking about the countdown to the SDGs, employing results, evidence, and targeted investments. CDI and IFAD's Operational Policy and Results Division will be running that event in partnership with FAO, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the World Bank. With this, I would like to close today's event, and thank you and see you in October. Have a great summer. Goodbye.